This year, you can see the results in front of you that we had a record participation, so 240 companies. So I know many of you, I bothered with many emails to do this survey, but it paid off, and we saw a record response, and that's $20.36 billion, which is the highest amount we've seen on an annual basis, and that's really exciting for us. The first takeaway is a really good one, and that is that giving has increased since the economic downturn. As I mentioned before, we measured a matched set of companies that responded to our survey since 2007. And the key story here is that giving has increased despite the fact that the effects of the recession are still being felt by many of the companies that are represented in this room. The second key takeaway is that non-cash contributions defined this post-recession giving area, or giving era. And so what we're seeing here is that companies are taking advantage of the different types of offerings that they can make. In addition to this non-cash sort of development and defining the overall giving, we're also seeing that companies are engaging employees in new ways. Companies are offering far more paid release time and outside company time programs since 2007. So in 2007, 53% of companies had a paid release program. And in 2012, we saw 70%. The fourth takeaway that I'm going to be talking about before handing it off to Carmen is that companies are reprioritizing certain program areas. And so program area allocations have evolved from 2007 to 2012. And one of our biggest takeaways here was that education, the combination of both K-12 education and higher education, became the highest program area for the very first time in the history of writing, giving, and numbers.
So let's take a look now at where international giving falls within a typical company's portfolio. The way that we're looking at this is to take all those companies that gave to at least one international end recipient. You can see that this is a significant portion of what companies are doing and how they're investing around the world. We hear from companies all the time, that's excellent, but what drives that? What can we look at in the numbers to see why companies are giving abroad? We're doing that first by looking at international revenue. So on the left, what you've got are groupings by international giving percentage. And then we have two bars here, one for international revenue and one for international giving. These are average percentages. And this trend, I'm sure, doesn't surprise anyone in the audience. As international revenue goes up, so does international giving. So we ask companies to tell us, what is the role of employee footprint in choosing your international giving strategy? Those bottom two sections of the pie show us that over 2/3 of companies are looking at the countries where employees are located in order to determine where they might expand their international investments. So in the pilot, it was the first time that CCP gathered country-specific data. So we think that this is really can be a catalyst going forward for tracking where funds are moving around the world, and also for finding potential collaborative partners. If you're looking to enter a new market or new country, you can find out who is already there and connect and learn from their experiences.